All right, everybody, welcome back to The Slice, and we do have an update for you as promised yesterday on the show. I'm on the road again, but we're still bringing you The Slice because important things are happening. Novak Djokovic has withdrawn from the BNP Paribas Open / got not allowed to come. Yesterday, we saw that he was in the draw, but the tournament had released this tweet saying that they didn't know if he'd be able to make it to the tournament because of the CDC's guidelines or rules, but he was still in the draw. So now that's been cleared up. Novak Djokovic himself has made a statement on Twitter, which we'll get into. And we're also going to give a full draw breakdown now because we know the facts. Djokovic will not be in the bottom half of the draw as he was purportedly there to be. And now the bottom quarter is wide open. So welcome to The Slice. Let's get into this deep dive and take a look at all of the drama. Thanks for being here.
I go Federer. You're coming at you from the Del Rey Beach Open, Miami Open, down on the ground. This is Novak and Medvedev. We are here with the man, Neil Drown. Welcome to The Slice.
Well, people, the tennis tour since the pandemic started has not ceased to provide lots of drama, craziness with draws. We all knew it was going to be a nightmare, and it's continued to be, and it's seemingly gotten worse in 2022 with the Australian Open debacle with Djokovic getting deported. Still can't believe it happened, like I said yesterday. This, though, Indian Wells, we had about 12 hours of mix-ups, a lot of people's different opinions. Obviously, we'll try and wrap as much of that as we can in. But first of all, shout out to our sponsor. The official bag of The Slice is Go Sport. If you've never had a premium tennis bag, you're missing out. Story of a lot of people's lives. You have your tennis bag with like 2 slots in it. You throw your wallet and keys in there as you play, and then it takes 5 minutes to find them all at the end of your hit. Instead of doing that, you can get a Go Sport bag where everything's laid out that in a way that makes sense. You got a spot for your keys, wallet, phone. You got a spot for enough rackets. You don't need 12 rackets. None of us are pros. None of us are using that many. And you look good going to the court in the sleek black bag. So right now on our Instagram at The Slice Tennis, we're doing a giveaway of a free bag. So check them out, and also check the link below this video to shop and treat yourself to the bag that you deserve, even if you're a weekend scrapper like myself. So we just got to do the best we can. And speaking of that, Novak Djokovic, I think, did the best he could to try and play Indian Wells and then also not drag this out like what happened at the Australian Open. So first things first, here's Djokovic's tweet from today. He just said, while I was automatically listed in the BNP Paribas Open and the Miami Open draw, I knew it would be unlikely I'd be able to travel. The CDC has confirmed that regulations won't be changing, so I won't be able to play in the US. Good luck to those playing in these great tournaments. Fist bump. So that's a very diplomatic and smart response put out there from Djokovic, who unfortunately won't be at Indian Wells. As tennis fans here on The Slice, you guys are all tennis fans. We're all tennis fans. You should be sad that Novak Djokovic is not playing Indian Wells or Miami because they're two of the biggest tournaments. I've been to both of them. Miami with a media pass. Indian Wells continually hating on The Slice does not give us a media pass yet. They are great tournaments, and Novak Djokovic is still, I would argue, the best player in the world. That's, even though I know Nadal hasn't lost in 2022, Medvedev's the number 1 player in the world now. You still got to, on these hard courts, you still got to put Djokovic at the top when it comes to level. Don't you? Anyways, so that's the drama. I guess the drama's over. Some people are still mad that Djokovic stayed on the entry list because that barred, the next person who would have automatically qualified into the draw from getting in. Now Djokovic will be replaced by a lucky loser. So that's one thing. But, if you're Djokovic and you've won 20 slams, I think you deserve the right to wait until the last minute to see if you can get an exemption from the CDC, which shockingly was more efficient than the Australian government at making a decision. They didn't let it draw out over 7, 8, 9 days like the Aussies did. So anyways, that's that. Djokovic will not be playing in the Indian Wells tournament. So that significantly affects the draw, which we can look at now. Here, you should be able to see the screen. Here's just the rough kind of PDF draw. There's the bottom half of the draw. Here's the top half of the draw. So on the top, we got Nadal Medvedev, number 1, playing on the top, and then he could play Nadal, as you see here, as the number 4 seed in the semifinals. So Indian Wells, we love these big Masters 1000s on hard because everyone's here. They've got all the best players in the world. But now we don't have Djokovic, who could play except for his vaccine status, in the draw. So let's just take a look at the top half because that is what is unaffected by the Djokovic news. We got Medvedev potentially having to play Popyrin in the second round after a bye. And then he's going to play the winner of Monfils and either Lajovic or Krajinovic. I can't see Monfils really troubling Medvedev on these courts. Alcaraz, especially with his recent form. And then we got Carlos Alcaraz or Bautista Agut in the quarterfinals for Medvedev, which could be a in the third round for Medvedev. Fourth round for Medvedev. Jeepers. That could be a super interesting matchup. Everyone loves Carlos Alcaraz, and he's arguably, one of the hottest players, young players, especially on tour. And then he could play Cam Norrie, or defending champion. That's crazy to say. No shade to Cam Norrie. Our guy, love Cam Norrie here on the channel, but let's just be real for a second. Indian Wells defending champion Cam Norrie. Nobody thinks that that's like a normal thing to say right now. But if you remember, the Brit had an unbelievable run and won the whole tournament last year in a slightly depleted field at Indian Wells, but still amazing for Cam. So defending champ Cam Norrie could be playing if he plays well and beats Tsitsipas. He could play Medvedev in the quarterfinals there. But the most likely matchup is probably Tsitsipas versus Medvedev in the quarterfinals on the top. So that's a pretty saucy little quarter there. Then we got Nadal's quarter. He could play Korda in the second round after his bye, which would be a great matchup for Korda, young Korda. You got Dan Evans looking like the probability to come out of that to play Nadal in the third round. And then Nadal could play Opelka or Shapovalov. Wouldn't that be saucy? A little Shapovalov Nadal rematch after the drama that went down at the Australian Open. That could be amazing. See if Shapovalov eats his words or if he gets revenge on Rafa. I think everyone would put their money in to watch that matchup. I know I would. That's for sure. Let's just take a look at now here. Continue on here. Casper Ruud's at the bottom of that quarter. So then him or Jannik Sinner could play Nadal in the quarterfinals. Big draw here at the Australian Open, at the Indian Wells. So many players in the draw. It's amazing to see. Now let's get to the bottom half of the draw where things have really got broken wide open because of the Djokovic. Still says Djokovic there. That's how on top of it we are here at the slice. Still says Djokovic, but it won't be. It'll be somebody else. Some people are saying Dimitrov possibly. So the highest seed in the bottom quarter is Rublev, who just won a tournament, who won Dubai, playing very well. So he's the top seed there. He could play Tiafoe, who's making a comeback in the third round. Karatsev, Hurkacz, Schwartzman, Isner, Bublik, not Djokovic, all in that bottom corner. So they have huge opportunity. In the third quarter, though, it's Berrettini versus Zverev, potentially in the quarterfinals there. And that's, Auger-Aliassime, number 9, after winning a tournament and then getting to the final and then taking a break, is back in the draws here in Indian Wells. So there's just so much talent in that draw as well. But again, I'd say the bottom half of the draw is the land of opportunity with Djokovic out of it. So what's your guys' thoughts? What's your thoughts? Is it depressing that Djokovic is in the draw? I think from a tennis standpoint, it has to be, obviously. Does it ruin the tournament? Like the Australian? No, it doesn't ruin the tournament. Here's the potential quarterfinal matchups. We could have, if everyone, all the seeds went through, the highest seeds possible went through, we would have Medvedev versus Tsitsipas, and then we'd have Nadal versus Ruud, Berrettini versus Zverev, Rublev versus Schwartzman. That's an amazing quarterfinals, if you ask me. Let's do one last scan of the draw here, actually, to see if there's any. I just had a quick look at this. See if any saucy early round matchups. Nick Kyrgios got a wild card. We should mention the wild cards. He's going to play Sebastian Baez from Argentina, who's been playing amazing so far this year. Kyrgios probably expected to come through that on the hard court with his serve. Kyrgios could play Ruud in the third round, and he could sneak through. He could sneak through this bottom quarter or the second quarter here, and really get some much needed points and work his way back up the rankings possibly here. He seems like he's, new girlfriend, new motivation to work hard. He could play Nadal in the quarterfinals. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that just be absolutely crazy? Would love to see that. So that's an interesting wild card. And then who's the other wild card? We got Steve Johnson in there, Sam Querrey, and then we got Andy Murray, who is probably thanking heaven that he doesn't have to play Novak Djokovic potentially in the third round. He's got a qualifier, which if you've been following Andy Murray's, last while, he hasn't been getting the easiest starts to tournaments. So if you're a Muzza fan, that's big news for him. So anyways, yeah, there's a look at the draw. It's without Djokovic. As I thought he might be able to get in, might be able to work his magic, but apparently the CDC just cracks down on it and not let him in. But at least they made a decision quickly, and I did not know that about the U.S. Open or the U.S. country, that they'd be so strong with that. So anyways, what are you guys' thoughts? Let me know your opinions on the draw. Who's got an easy draw? Are we going to see Medvedev Nadal again? Now 6-1 in the head-to-head for Medvedev. Still confusing to me. Medvedev is probably confused as well why he hasn't been able to take at least one of the last 2 times they played in 2022. But a lot to see, a lot to think about. I can't wait for the action to get started. Give me your predictions. My prediction, I guess, should I give a prediction? My prediction for the winner, I'm expecting Medvedev to step up to the plate. I expected him to win the Australian Open, and halfway through the final, it seemed obvious that he was going to win the tournament, and he didn't. So I'm looking for him to get his first win of the season here. I think he's motivated. I think a little bit slower hard court will help him. And he's still the number 1 player in the world. And I think he's going to be super motivated to show that and get revenge on Nadal if that matchup does happen again. So if I had to put money on someone, I'd put it on Medvedev at the start of the tournament, but maybe it's ridiculous to not put it on Nadal after he's 15-0, 3 titles to start 2022. Is that not crazy? That is crazy. So vamos, Rafa. Indian Wells 2022 is about to start. We're rolling into it, and let's buckle in for a good tournament. This has been The Slice, breaking down the ATP draw at Indian Wells. Stay tuned for some live Canadian watch-alongs on the Canadian Tennis Stream, and thanks for subscribing, joining the channel to support my work as I go to Europe this spring, this summer, to cover the tournaments for you guys from the ground. Check that all out. All the links are below. Thank you guys for your support. We will see you very soon back here on The Slice.
You're coming at you from the Delray Beach Open, Miami Open grounds. This is Novak and Nadal and Medvedev. We are here with the man. He loves around it. Welcome to The Slice.